Caesar dressings are high in fat. So your Caesar salad that you're opting for can sometimes be equivalent to the burger and chips that you were eyeing off.
Protein shake is such a good way of cutting down on the calories through the day, but still being able to hit your macros for protein and calories as well.
What's your initial advice for someone that is embarking on a journey and wants to continue to dine out?
Making it more of a mindset shift rather than looking at it as an obstacle. So going, how can I actually make this part of my everyday life and part of that balance that I'm trying to achieve?
Talk me through how someone is still logging in their food and how they can essentially track a dine out meal into their diary to make sure that it still fits their caloric and macronutrient goals for the day.
When you are working towards a health goal, looking at that menu online and saying, okay, these are the options that we've got and this is what I would really like to have. I think it's the perfect way to do it.
So be kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you do go off track, it's okay. Just get back on track the next day. Welcome back to another episode on Chewing This. This is a very exciting and very different type of episode. Today, I've got Greer here who is co-hosting this episode with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. And today I really wanted to chat about a topic that is commonly asked by our Ecolution community, which is dining out and fat loss.
Yes, my favourite subject.
Oh, my favourite subject as well.
I know, it's perfect
I'm like
for us.
Chief dining out expert over
Yeah,
here.
well, I'm coming for you on that one, but okay.
So for me, I really just want to chat about how do you actually dine out when on a weight loss journey or even just focusing on becoming healthier and how you can stick to the goals that you've set. So what's your initial advice for someone that is embarking on a journey and wants to continue to dine out?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it can definitely be a confusing kind of area when you're first starting, but I think looking at it from a different point of view and making it more of a mindset shift rather than looking at it as an obstacle. So going, how can I actually make this part of my everyday life and part of that balance that I'm trying to achieve? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about sustainability in what you do, in everything that you do all the time. And the method that you apply to achieving your goals needs to be sustainable so that you're able to do it long term. So for our new listeners out there, I've embarked on a 30-kilo weight loss journey, and you might see on Instagram that I dine out every weekend.
Yes.
And eat a lot of delicious foods over the weekend, and that's because I do everything in moderation. And I've sustained my weight loss over time because I've enjoyed the process. And if someone told me tomorrow you can't dine out because you're working towards a particular health goal, I'd say, well, is it even worth it? Because it plays such a big part. Dining out plays such a big part in, socializing, interacting with people, enjoying life, celebrations. So why should we eliminate that part when just focusing on a health goal?
Yeah, agree.
So what are some practical tips that you could give our listeners when it comes to healthier choices when looking at a restaurant menu?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost is looking at the healthier options that you've got when you're looking at the menu. So you can go to kind of even just a pub, for example, and you could get fish and chips, or you could get the deep fried fish and chips, or you could get grilled fish and chips. So you're still getting the meal that you're after, but you're opting for a slightly lower calorie version of that meal. And so you're kind of still scratching that itch. You're still going out, you're still being social, but you're having a meal that kind of fits within your calories. Looking at sauces. So getting your sauces on the side, that's a really, really easy way to cut down your calories. For example, today I just grabbed a salmon bowl from a Japanese place. It was a quick takeaway lunch, but they had the sauce on the side, and I was able to put maybe a fifth of the sauce onto it. It was such a rich sauce, really nice, but I didn't need it all. If I'd put all of that on, that could have blown the calories out by another 300 calories just in the sauce alone. So really looking at asking for sauce on the side and then just managing how you're putting that sauce on. Dressings are the same, opting for grilled over fried things, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because we often think that the healthier alternative, like salads and so on, are the ones that are going to be lower in calories. But when you look at the components of like a Caesar salad, which is like a hot girl lunch. Do you know that, like that trend, that hot girl lunch trend? Yeah. Caesar dressings are high in fat. They're creamy and they can be high in calories. And so your Caesar salad that you're opting for because you're like, oh yeah, I'll come for lunch, but I'm going to get a salad.
Yes.
Can sometimes be equivalent to the burger and chips that you were eyeing off, which is so confronting. And another point that you said about sauces, I eat grilled every Friday. Like that is like tradition.
Love grilled.
That is what I do every single Friday. My partner knows about it. He tries to dispute me on it and tries to like get another Uber Eats come through before I order grilled, but it's not happening. But it's like tradition. And when you look at the calories of the sauces, it is so mind-blowing because like two tubs of sauce can equal the same calories as a chicken burger.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
do you know how easy it is to get through two sauces?
Yeah, because they're delicious.
I have sauce on absolutely everything. And so like for me and like what my recommendations would be is just being mindful, like making informed choices. So like for me, when I'm having grilled on a Friday night, and this is of course when I'm on a weight loss journey or like trying to clean things up, going to Europe, whatever it may be, summer shred, I will ensure that the rest of my day allows me to enjoy one or two sauces in the evening. So it's not like I completely eliminate it. And I think that's the message that I really want to get across in this is that you can still enjoy the food that you love, even if you do want to go for the fried fish and the chips as opposed to grilled because you're like, I don't feel like grilled today.
Yeah.
Just make sure that the rest of your day accommodates that, which is most important. So if you know that you're going to have a calorie-dense meal that's high in fat, that's high in carbs, then look at what the rest of the day is. So opt for lower calorie, high protein, high fiber food. So make sure that you're still getting in your whole foods, your lean proteins, your veg, your fiber throughout the day, and then you can enjoy your fried fish and chips.
Absolutely.
For dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't think anything is off the menu really, as long as you're being mindful about the rest of your day and making good choices through the day to allow yourself to have whatever it is that you want at that meal.
And so for our Equilition community that are tracking their intake, so talk me through how someone is still logging in their food and how they can essentially track a dine-out meal into their diary to make sure that it still fits their caloric and macronutrient goals for the day.
Yeah, sure. So in that scenario, I mean, most menus are available online before you go out. So you can have a sneak peek of the menu if you like to do that. And when you are working towards a health goal, I think it's the perfect way to do it. So looking at that menu online and saying, okay, these are the options that we've got and this is what I would really like to have in the ideal world, and then just reverse engineer it, work backwards from that. So you've got your pasta that you want to eat, you want to have some garlic bread, and you might want to have 2 glasses of red wine, okay? That's what you're going to work around. And then work back through the day on how you can try and work your day to kind of fit those calories, but also try your best to hit your protein and fiber to your closest amount for that as well. So that's kind of the easiest way to do it. When you go in blind and you've kind of eaten to your meal plan for the day, and then you get to dinner time and you've got 500 calories left and you're like, oh, and then that's when I think you can come undone, right?
Yeah.
You feel like a lot of people that, I don't know if you're the same, but you have the 500 calories and you go, oh, I'm not going to do it, so I'll just get whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where you can kind of come unstuck.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, I've just ruined my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you're embarking on a fat loss journey, it's important that you pre-plan. So I'm a big believer in doing your time. So for so many years, when I was on my own weight loss journey, I considered a particular phase in my journey as doing my time. And what that means is that I was religiously tracking everything. And the reason being is that, one, I had answers as to why I was and wasn't getting results because the numbers don't lie. And two, I was educating myself because how am I supposed to know as someone that's so early on in their journey what a particular food contains? So I go to lunch thinking a Caesar salad is the right option, but I don't know how many calories a Caesar salad has until I actually log it into my food diary. So I think doing your time is so important.
Absolutely.
So you're not a restricted dieter, you're a strict dieter in the sense that you are tracking your food, but you're becoming educated in the
Yeah,
process.
like an educated dieter.
Yeah,
and it's totally different, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think that for so many years I would pre-plan. I would be the person checking the menu in advance, and I'd rock up like, oh, let me just have a quick look. But in my mind, I'm like, I know I'm getting the chicken schnitzel
exactly
and the
what
mash because I pre-planned that in my diary,
Yeah.
and I'm only having one glass of wine and that's it.
Yeah.
So I would pre-plan for a majority like of the years, and then it wasn't until I was comfortable and confident enough that I was able to not have to pre-plan ahead. But also, it wasn't until I was in maintenance mode, because that's also very different. When you're working towards achieving a weight loss goal, which, you know, a lot of our listeners are probably trying to achieve, versus I'm just trying to be healthy because I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm comfortable. I just want to maintain. I just want to make healthier choices, is very different. And how
Agreed.
you go about with your tracking and your food is very, very different. So you can have that flexibility, but you need to do your time beforehand.
And so on that, how long did it take you of doing your time to get to this point?
Yeah, look, years.
Yeah.
It wasn't an overnight thing. I didn't just track for 8 weeks and I was like, yep, I've lost 5 kilos and that's it. Or it wasn't, you know, after I lost the whole 30 that I was like, yep, I've gotten to my goal weight and that's it. I kept doing it because it became habitual. It was something that, you know, just like I wake up and I brush my teeth, just like I, you know, wake up and I shower or whatever it may be, tracking my food was habitual. And it was because I wanted to become educated on what I was putting inside my body, which is so important. So like now I only ever track when I'm working towards a like weight loss goal.
Yeah.
I am going to Europe in a few weeks, and so I need
Exciting.
to clean it up a little bit, tighten things up.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm tracking now. And it's quite shocking because it's not something that I've spoken about, but I really wanted to talk on this topic. When I got into a relationship, when you get to know someone, all you do is dine out, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
just eat
absolutely.
because that's how you get to know someone. It's such an intimate, fun way of like, you know, enjoying this person's company. And so I was dining out way more than I probably should have.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because my partner Luke and I, we were sitting in bed the other day, and he's like very familiar to food tracking. But we went to a wedding and we went out for dinner or lunch, and he was putting in his food for the day, and he's like, oh, now I've hit 4,000 calories. Oops. It's like that now explains the weight gain.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't realize, because you don't realize how many calories food contain, particularly when you're
Absolutely.
dining out. But when you're educated and you are aware of what you're putting into your body, you're able to actually like go out for dinner and not have to think twice about what you're ordering or what you're having for the day, because you just know what you're feeding your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of your like favorite recipes that are like low calorie, high protein, high fiber that you would have on a day when you're dining out?
Yeah, I will tend to do like omelets in the morning.
Yeah.
I love an omelet, getting the protein in, some fresh veggies as well. I'll always load up on salad. But like, you know, a homemade salad with a good protein source in there, some good healthy fats, and maybe some brown rice or something like that. I'm trying to get fibre up, or some lentils or legumes or something in there. So I really focus on the fibre content and definitely the protein content as well. So and just trying to get some sort of variety, because I know that I'm going out and, you know, might have a couple of drinks and have food that's a little bit heavier as well.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorites are definitely a protein smoothie. You can't go wrong with protein powder.
Absolutely. Agreed.
The Equilition whey protein powder specifically, vanilla protein powder with like a milk of some sort, like almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, skim milk, whatever your preference is. You can even opt for water if you want to. Ice, frozen blueberries and honey. And it is like no calorie. It's under 300 calories.
For sure, yeah.
It's high in protein. You're getting your micronutrients in. You're getting blueberries, which are a superfood, and it's so filling and so good. That is like my go-to. If I'm dining out, I will always start the day with a protein smoothie.
Yeah, I tend to actually do that in the afternoon when I'm going out because I find I get really hungry just before I go out.
Yeah.
And I don't like turning up to a restaurant super hungry because that's when you make those decisions and you just go, oh, give me everything, especially when it comes to starters and bread and that sort of thing where you're filling up on all this other food. So I'll have a protein shake in the afternoon and it might just be with water. I love putting the protein powder with a little bit of milk and some like lots of ice and it becomes like a milkshake. It's amazing. But it's like 200 calories, 30 grams of protein and it gets me through to that time when we sit down to have dinner and I'm not absolutely starving. So I think, the protein shake is such a good way of cutting down on the calories through the day but still being able to hit your macros for protein and calories as well.
That is so important that you mentioned not going to dinner starving.
Yes.
Because I think that what a lot of people think is that I'm just going to fast. I'm going to eat the most minimal calories because I'm going to save all of my calories for dinner. But the problem then becomes that you're starving, you sit down, you want to eat anything and everything. So you do eat all of the extra bits and pieces, which you may have not accounted for. And then you end up overeating because you're like, I'm so hungry.
Absolutely.
We're all guilty to this.
Yeah.
I do this all the time. And it's just like you just completely blow out your day. So our recommendation, which I'm sure that you'll agree on, is don't go to dinner hungry.
For sure.
Still have a good amount of calories throughout the day. Don't just starve yourself. Unless you are intentionally fasting, you don't need to fast. So unless you're someone that just has a later breakfast at like 10, 11 o'clock, fine. But don't make those drastic changes to your day because then it's actually going to be worse off. You're going to be worse off in the evening because you're going to be so hungry.
Yeah, so going for volume eating over that, calorie dense eating throughout the day. So you're still getting the bulk but not the calories in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So if, for example, usually have wraps for lunch, use all of the same ingredients and turn it into a salad.
Exactly.
And then you're eliminating 150 calories from that one meal. You're loading up on more veggies that are going to keep you fuller for longer and you're still able to get your protein in. So you're eating something that's substantial, which is important.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to someone who does experience a blowout? So let's say they did all the right things. They ate high protein, high fiber, low calorie meals. They saved a really great amount for dinner. They tracked in advance. They knew what they were getting, and then they rock up and it just turns into a blowout. They may have had too many slices of bread at the beginning, maybe a few extra glasses of wine that they had tracked, and they added in a dessert because they were craving it. What would you recommend to this person?
Look, I know how easy it is to get into the mindset of, oh my gosh, I've just done that. The next day, who cares? I'll just go back to blowing out again because I've already done it and keep going, and it becomes that kind of roller coaster. But it's really, really important to go, you know what? I've done that. So what? Get back on track and just start tracking the next day. Start eating as normal. Don't undereat the next day. Just back to your normal eating plan. If you're on 1,800 calories, get your 1,800 calories in, get your macros, get your fiber, get your protein in there and continue on your week that way. Because the worst possible thing you can do is undereat the next day and starve yourself and then start that cycle of yo-yo roller coaster dieting.
It becomes a cycle. And even just like the excessive cardio, I find that what people do is like the next day they undereat. They're like, oh, I'm not going to eat 1,800. I'm going to eat 1,000 and then I'm going to do 3 hours of cardio. But do you know how many burpees you need to do in order to burn that meal?
Too many.
Too many.
Way too
and
many.
It's just like it is not worth it.
No.
And what is it? It's like you need to consume 3,000, it's like over 3,000 calories on top of your maintenance calories in order to – is it 3,000 or 7,000?
7,000 calories. Yeah.
7,000 calories over your maintenance calories. So say my maintenance is 2,400. I need to consume 7,000 calories on top of that, which is 9,000 calories in order to put on a kilo of fat.
Yeah, I know. And I think people don't understand that. They think, oh my gosh, I've overeaten by 500 calories on one day, even 1,000 calories on one day, and that's it. I may as well just keep going because I've blown it out. And there goes my goals. And it's not the case at all. So I think the more people start to understand, look, if you go out and you don't track and you just have that one night, so be it, move on, get on with what you're doing, get back on the horse and back into your health goals, because
Absolutely.
it's only one meal. It's not even one day.
Absolutely. And weighing yourself the day after,
Oh, no
you
doubt.
will probably feel bloated. You're
Yeah.
probably going to be heavier on the scales because you've probably had an increase in carbs. So it's normal, and sodium. So
Yeah.
it's normal. You're holding water. It's not fat. So be kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you do go off track, it's okay. Just get back on track the next day.
Agreed.
So are there any other tips or recommendations that you can give our listeners when it comes to dining out, how to enjoy dining out and not have the guilt attached to it, or anything else that we haven't spoken about today?
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, a weight loss journey, and particularly what we preach at Ecolution, is a weight loss journey is about being able to be balanced and enjoy your life. So it's really about enjoying food and making that part of your everyday life. So taking the guilt away from food, and just enjoying it. If you're lucky enough to be able to go out and enjoy your food, then do it, and do it without the guilt, and get back onto your meal plans and that sort of thing when you're at home and you've got control over it.
Absolutely. And I think just also remember that it's not going anywhere. So if you are dining out, don't use it as an opportunity to blow out.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people that do that. They're like, well, I'm dining out, so I'm just going to blow out anyways. But like, just eat whatever you're craving. So if you have not tracked for the day, or you haven't tracked your dinner, just eat to your fullness. Don't overeat because you're like, oh, I'm going to order 3 desserts now and I'm going to have even more wine because I'm never going to get this again. No, you can definitely get this again. You can go out for dinner next weekend, and you can have your glass of wine and your fried fish and your chips, whatever it may be, as long as you're doing everything in moderation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that wraps up today's episode. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this episode, and I'll see you at the next one.